Hi, hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am very excited to be saying that. This is obviously my first video. You may have followed me on TikTok, Green Garden Books. That's the same name I'm using here. My real name is Seth, if you ever want to call me by that, since Green Garden Books doesn't really have a good ring to it. I am here just like as an extension of my TikTok. I want to talk about books. I want to talk about authors, what I'm reading, what I like, what I don't like, what you should be reading based, solely on my opinion, and really just talk about all of it. And I'm glad to give myself the space to talk about it. I'm a bit of a yapper, so the 60 seconds to 2 minutes doesn't really seem to fit me. But here I can talk as long as I would like. A bit about myself. I've got books here. We'll get to that in a second. I have been on my new reading journey since about 2022. Book Talk really influenced me, and I was like, you know what? I love reading. I haven't been into it. Let's give it a go and try. And I've just been full steam ahead since then. You've got your on and off months of where you're like, wow, I want to read everything, and wow, I really hate the art of reading. I hate it so much. For that time, I have tracked on Storygraph. I have only used Storygraph, so all of my books are on there. I love Storygraph. I love the charts, the statistics, the data that it gives me. That it's not owned by Amazon. This isn't a review of Storygraph, but I do get frustrated about it not having like a separate category for rereads. Um, I've got some comfort books that I'll be talking about in this that I've read several times. And so when I go to like my most read author, it's like, you've read 20 books by this author. And I'm like, no, I haven't. I've read five, but I've read like five or six, but I read a lot of them because they make me feel good. But that's really kind of like a minute problem with it, you know? In this first video, I'm going to go over my 5-star reads, kind of give you a taste of what I like, what piques my interest, the genres that I read. Like, that would be a really great way to get to know somebody is through the books that they have, not only loved, but like 5-star. If you were like, what book should I read? It would probably be several of these from this pile. Let me just yap about these and talk about how much I love them. I'm going to go in order. So I'm going to start with the first book I ever gave 5 stars to, and then my most recent 5-star read. Number one on that list is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I think this was just brilliant. Again, this was the first one that I bought back in 2022. I'd seen on Book Talk, people were like, you gotta read it, it's so good. It's Greek mythology, it's a little gay, and as someone who is a little gay and loves Greek mythology, I was like, this is right up my alley. And it was. I think Madeline Miller's writing style is beautiful. I have seen some critiques of this book. I don't think any of these books that I will tell you are beyond critique, but it doesn't stop my enjoyment of them. So I understand the critiques of this book, but I think Achilles and Patroclus, I just love their romance. I will never forget, spoiler, if you haven't read the book, reading for the first time when they're up in Chiron's cave and Achilles is like, my mom can't see us here. And to like, oh, that was just such a beautiful moment to me. And if you have not read this book at all, I would highly recommend it. Even if you don't like Greek mythology, you may not like it as much as I did, but I think you would really like it. Any books that happen to be part of like sequels or duologies or trilogies, I'm just gonna lump them together. I think it's easier to talk about them that way. So we've got Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe, and Aristotle and Dante dive into the waters of the world. This book I stole from my good friend in college. If you're watching, I'm sorry that I never gave this book back to you, but I treat her with a lot of love. It was just really powerful to read. I thought the story is so well fleshed out. The characters are brilliant. Aristotle, Dante, both sets of parents. It left me broken, but also healed. And then for Benjamin to come back with a sequel all those years later, this is the closest I've ever gotten to crying at a book. Because there's just one pivotal moment where I was like, well, I hope this doesn't happen. And then the thing happened. I'm not a spoiler person. So I'm always going to be very vague with it unless I'm specifically saying it's a spoiler. But since this is like a get to know me, I don't want to spoil anything, especially if you haven't read it. I think they're beautiful. They're so well written. They're, again, some criticism of here, but I think this book does so much of building out of the world of Aristotle and Dante that we really didn't get to know. Yeah, I just love it. Next up, we have what I think is probably one of the greatest love stories of all time, Heartstopper Volume 1 through 5. plus the Nick and Charlie novella. Alice Oseman cracked open a gold mine with this first installment. I did not originally read these in the volumes. I read them on Webtoons and just was always blown away by everything that Oseman did, and to just continue being brilliant, unearthing themes with mental illness, trauma, bullying, and even Nick, who like is fine, but he's got his own issues, because it's hard to be a caretaker and it's hard to be the one that's always strong. This little novella is beautiful. I think, it gives us what we kind of lack in Heartstopper, which is true friction between the two characters, and what it means to grow up, because Heartstopper is still in kind of the little bubble. And I'll talk about the TV show because I personally love the TV show. I think Alice Oseman saw the not the faults in the comic, I guess the faults in the comic of like Tao, Elle, and all the other side characters are kind of underdeveloped, but that's to be expected because Heartstopper's not about them. It's about Nick and Charlie. But I think Alice Oseman does a beautiful job writing the show. And Bob Netflix, CEO and president of Netflix, if you do not greenlight a season 4, it's not super expensive to make. You spent $350 million on the Electric State, which nobody really asked for because nobody's watching it. So if you're okay with wasting money on there, you can give me a season 4 of Heartstopper where Alice Oseman says, that's all I need. Give me 8 more episodes. It's not that difficult, and it won't be that expensive. I need it done. Next up, Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. Wow. This book is so great, and Kathleen Glasgow has either lived through a mental health crisis herself or did just beautiful research, because this book is so real and it's so raw, and it kind of makes you want to look away at some points, just how debilitating a mental illness can be and how hard it is to accept an end, but that end doesn't come, and you have to put yourself back together. You don't get to you don't get what you wanted. You have to put yourself back together, and you have to live a life, and you don't know what it means to live a life because you never expected to. I really love this book. My TBR is getting pretty small, which is great. Woo! So I'll probably start doing some rereads at some point within probably this year. And I think this will be up here. I've only read it once. Most of my books I've only read one time because I have a TBR to get to. I can't reread. But I'm really excited to come back to this book. Next, this is a graphic novel called Bloom by Kevin Panetta and Savannah Guanchow. It's about a boy, this one. His parents have a Greek bakery, I believe, and they're trying to run it, make sure it works, and he's getting ready to go to college, but he doesn't know if he wants to go to college. He has this band that he might want to do, and he wants to get out of a small town. He meets this boy over here who wants to be a chef, I believe, and he's staying in the same town, and he gets a job at his family's bakery, and he's like, great, someone else can be here, and I can finally leave. Sometimes things don't happen the way you want them to happen, and sometimes that's for the better. I think the artwork in here is really beautiful. It's got this kind of like blue tone to it throughout the whole thing, which I really love. If you love Twilight, I'm sure you'll love it. But I loved this book. I think the journey that both boys have to go on to find themselves in each other is really fascinating. And there is an end. Obviously, there's an end. Duh. There is an end to it. Like it could end right there. But I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping there is a sequel. So Kevin or Savannah, if you're watching, I would really like a sequel. If you don't feel artistically called to do it, don't do it, but I would really like it. Iron Widow by Jirian J. Zhao. Oh, wow. What a great book. This book packs a lot of punches with not like a ton of... It's a little under 400 pages. And there's so much story, there's so much lore, there's so much world building that Jirian gives that is just amazing. The book is sci-fi reimagining of China's first female emperor, I believe, from Jirian's TikToks. If you're here, hi. I love this book. I can't wait to read the sequel. I'm just too poor to buy it right now. There are giant mechas powered by people's chi, and it's a male-dominated society, so women are used for power, and then tossed aside, and that is what motivates our main character. Her sister is used and killed like that, and she says, "I'm gonna get him," and get him she may do, but I don't want to spoil it. And there is a sequel, so if you're at the end and you're like, ugh, you can go get it right now, because I need to go get the sequel right now. The Magic Fish by Trung Le Nguyen. This is our main character is Tien. He is a boy in middle school trying to kind of navigate life and crushes and his parents, and feeling a closeness to his parents but a distance because there's a secret that he is keeping from them, and how storytelling can help you out with that. Storytelling helps you figure yourself out, and that's such a brilliant message. Viola Davis, when she won her Oscar, said that being an artist is the only profession that shows what it means to live a life. And that's just like the thesis statement for this, of like, you find yourself in stories and it helps you see who you are, what you want to say, and connect the dots of your own self before you even know it, really. And the artwork is beautiful. It's every story has its own hue to it. So like, we've got the real world here is red. The one of the fairy tales are like a purpley blue. It's just beautiful, a beautiful story. Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley. This is a YA novel. Let's see if I can peel the sticker off while I talk, because I don't like stickers on my books. Like, sure, it's a Reese book club, but I'm not in Reese's book club. So the book follows our main character Donis as she is trying to figure out her life. She doesn't really feel like she fits in with her mom's side of the family, who are all white. She doesn't feel like she fully fits in with her dad's side of the family, who is all indigenous. And so she feels like she's kind of in between these two worlds, and she's like, wants a fresh start. And then something really bad happens, and the book becomes a mystery of trying to solve whatever is happening while she's still trying to figure out herself, while she's still trying to be like, well, do I want this? Do I want to invest myself into this thing, or do I want to just leave it and cut everything off? And it's a hefty book. It's well over 500 pages, and I think the pages are used great. I really like the book. I am excited to reread it at some point, because I do remember being very impacted by it. Before the Ever After by Jacqueline Woodson. This has got to be one of the saddest books I've ever read. And it's also one of the shortest. It's like 160 pages. So I don't even know if it's a book. It might just be a novella, but it follows our main character here, ZJ. Sorry, I know I'm really bad with character names. As you will learn in this channel, character names are really hard for me. I'm like, oh, that person, you with the red hair, you with the limp, you with the green eyes. Like, that's where, that's where I'm at. But it follows his dad. He's a professional football player, and his health starts to really decline. And it has some really powerful things to say about what football does to the men of our society, the prices they pay for that. I think this book should be taught in classrooms. Here, I live in America. Football's very big. I was a big kid growing up. I was tall and I was large, and they were like, get in football, get in football. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because not that I would have gone professional, but the damage it does to your body. And the fact that the man we meet at the beginning of this book is not the man that we leave this book with. And I really like Jacqueline's writing style, because it's kind of like poetry. She has another book that I have read, Brown Girl Dreaming, which I believe is her autobiography, that's also written in the same style. But I read that with my kids when I worked with middle schoolers. So I gotta get that book. Kindred by Octavia Butler. This book is about a woman, Dana, who lives in the modern time, but she keeps being sucked back into the antebellum South. And it's specifically with this child named Rufus. So the first time she meets him, this is not a spoiler because it happens in the beginning of the book, she saves him from drowning, and she comes back to real life, and she keeps flashing back to Rufus, and there is a connection there that she's not really sure what it means or how this affects her and what's happening with her. Having to go from being a modern person to living under the restrictions and the horribleness of slavery, Butler is just a phenomenal author. I have 4 books by her, and I'm just amazed by her writing style. And this, I think, captures everything perfectly that I love about her writing style. Of the characters are great, the story is interesting. There's kind of like a supernatural element of why she does keep going back and forth. So I would highly recommend it. She's also got other great books, The Parable of the Sower and The Parable of the Talents, which are not 5 stars for me, but I think are really worthwhile reads as well. Moving on, I have Someday Maybe by Onyi Nwabineli. This is a character study of our main character, whose name is not in the thing, so I don't remember her name. I'm so sorry. She comes home one day and she finds that her husband has taken his own life. And it chronicles her from that point to probably maybe a year and a half, of kind of like Girl in Pieces, of putting yourself back together after an ultimate tragedy. And it's just so well written, and it takes its time. This book is not going to be for everybody. If you don't like slow books or character studies, there's not really a ton of plot here. But I just love it. And her family, of taking care of a person, but how much is too much care, and they have to live their lives, and she needs to live her life. It's amazing. This is a really, really great book. I would implore you to try it. At least get it from your library, try it. If it's not your taste, then it's not your taste. But it's not even that long of a book as well. With the epilogue, it is 342 pages. I think this is her first novel. Yeah, it's a debut novel, so I'm very excited to see what else she has. Deathless Divide by Justina Ireland. This is the sequel to Dread Nation. Dread Nation was not 5 stars for me, but I really did like it. This is a perfect sequel because we are expanded in the world. We kind of get more of what's out there. This is a zombie kind of thriller book, taking place in the 1800s America, where enslaved people went from being enslaved to grow crops to zombie killers, and they have to protect the white people. And so that is kind of the first book we get of why it happens, and kind of the beats of that, of what you would expect to happen. But we get more in depth of our characters. We get to know them on a deeper level. The ending I had a little bit of a problem with, but I'm kind of thinking here now, and as I was reading it, I was like, it's just such a good book. It's such a good, like, I'm not a zombie person, but I think this book does it well. Both books do it extremely well, but this one, this is the superior of the two. Now we have 2/3 of the Broken Earth trilogy, the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, and the Obelisk Gate. The 3rd book is not here because I think the ending kind of fell apart, and I was like, what is happening here? I think it peaks with the first. The first book is my favorite. Now, I have to say, she really throws you in with a map and a dream in this first book. So it's really hard to get into. But once you do get into it, the world is so meticulously thought out. The magic system is so expansive, but it's also like, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. I understand it. And just the stories that are told from our different characters, ending where not that I saw it coming, but I was like, is this it? Because if it is, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant strategy. And it was, because she's brilliant. N.K. Jemisin is brilliant. And the second book, I think, kind of builds off exactly with that, with our same character, whose name, again, I do not remember, Issun, in her journey. But the Obelisk Gate, I think it does a great job of building off of everything that we learned in the 5th season, and to, again, build our world out, kind of give us an idea of what we're looking for and what we're moving towards. Like, what is the point of this whole thing? And this book does just a brilliant job of it. And it doesn't feel like middle book syndrome. It feels like its own unique story, and that's what I really loved about it. And I would, if you like fantasy, you gotta read these. Again, the 3rd one falls apart in the end, but I would still highly recommend it. And we have one of my favorite books of all time, Babel by R.F. Kuang. I genuinely think this is a perfect book. I really have no notes about it. Um, the only thing is, I'm like, there could have been some homosexuality where I saw it between two characters, but a lot happens in this book, so I understood that it wasn't. I mean, I would have liked it, but it wasn't needed. I think Robin's journey from where we meet him to his kidnapping, pretty much, it is a kidnapping, the way that he's raised, and the Oxford, all of it is amazing, and it's so well done. It feels like an actual history. Um, I recently recommended this to my sister, and she was like, I think you could have cut 100 to 150 pages. And I was like, what are you talking about? Everything was great. And she was like, I didn't like the classroom scenes. And I didn't like the annotation at the bottom. I'm like, I loved the annotation. Like, I was like, what do you mean? But I respect her reading of it, and that I was like, wow, some people really don't like this book. But that's the beautiful thing about art, is that not everything is for everybody. But even her, with all those critiques, she really liked the story. So R.F. Kuang can do no wrong in my mind. The Poppy War trilogy is not on this list. I have slight issues with each book, but those are phenomenal as well. And I have Yellowface up here on my TBR that I will get to at some point. But back to Babel. Again, for me, it's perfect. Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. I had a really interesting time with this book because I had seen it so much on Book Talk of people like 5 stars. It's brilliant. It's amazing. It's one of the best things ever. And so I got it and I was like, do I keep my expectations super high or do I keep them? I like kind of met it in the middle, and the book met my expectations. And I was like, well, should it be 5 stars? And I'm like, yes, dummy. It's 5 stars. It's YA in the way that you love to see it. It's complex. It's not just here to sell you something or be like, I'm living in this fantasy world, but I'm just a girl. And no, we're dealing with real things that happen to deal with the plot and the fantasy and the magic of it all. And the twist at the end is something that I had not seen coming at all. And then she showed us, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. I have Blood Marked up here to read. Now, I am very bad at things, so I'm definitely going to have to reread Legendborn before I get to Blood Marked. Because, again, I'm bad with remembering. Read this book if you haven't. The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is a Carrie retelling based in the South. Our main character, whose name is Madison. She's our Carrie, and she is biracial in this interpretation, and we've got the same things that we deal with in Carrie. Jackson's ability to tell a story that we already know the ending to and still keep you entranced and keep you wondering what's going to happen, where you're like, ooh, and it's like, well, duh, I know that's going to happen. But her ability to surprise you, I just found this book great. I'm not a huge horror person, and the twist that she adds as well is another one where I like, if I could stand, I would stand and clap for her, because that's just brilliant storytelling, and it's just amazing. And the addition of her being biracial, living in this southern white town, another amazing layer to add to it. Dial A for Aunties by Jesse Sutanto. This again is a perfect book. It is slapstick. It is outrageous. It's not pretending to be anything else than what it is. And that's what I love about it. It never did I know where this was going to end. Every page is used perfectly. Nothing is wasted. The aunties are hilarious. Our main character, whose name is Madeline, her being the straight man for all of this, is so funny. Anytime she asks the auntie something and they're like, well, this, and she's like, I'm living in the Twilight Zone, is so relatable. I loved it. I loved it so much. You'd Be Home Now by Kathleen Glasgow. This book also deals with mental health issues, but we're dealing with addiction this time. And addiction in the way that you would expect, the pills here, obviously. but addiction in all the other senses as well that we kind of normalize in our culture. And then once it becomes something, it's a little harder, it's alcohol and it's, oxy, and then it's where you're a terrible, awful person. Whereas, like, well, you all have other addictions that may not be, crack cocaine or meth, but they're hurting you just the same. I really liked what she had to say about it. There were many times where I had to put the book down because of our main character, Emery. She was making choices, and I was like, oh my God, oh, stop, please, God. And it's because I'm an older person. I'm 27. My frontal lobe is developed. I've lived, the first part of my life. And she's just 16. Is she 16 or is she 17? I don't know. She's 16 or 17 years old, and she doesn't know any better, and she doesn't have anybody there for her. And I'm like, that's great writing, to be able to elicit these responses where you hate what she's doing, but you understand why she's doing it, and you wish you could be there to help her, but nobody is. Nobody's there to help her. Second to last, if you've stuck around this long, thank you so much. I have no idea how long this video is going to be, but I really appreciate you sitting here and letting me yap, because I love books. I love reading. I always have, and I like getting to share that with the world. The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is a behemoth of a book. And I made a TikTok with Cornbread's viral sound where there's no way in hell this is $5 million. Well, fuck me in the ass, this is $5 million. About how big this book is, because it really does need to be 800 plus pages. And I just loved it. I thought the world is so unique, and it's something I've never seen before. All of the characters are diverse, and we've got every shade of person, so many queer people. I just loved it. I really, really loved this book, and I never really knew where it was going to go. I was surprised over and over and over again. And I'm not crying. I just have something in my eye, which is usually a lie, but it's just so good. It's so, so good. It does have a prequel, A Day of Fallen Night. I would read Priory first and then read A Day of Fallen Night. Because I do feel this does a lot to build out the world of Priory, but you will not be as surprised and shocked as you are with this book. So I think you'll have a better reading experience with this, but I really loved this book. If you don't like fantasy, you're not going to like it. Because again, this was one where I had to make notes to be like, all right, this is for this person, this is for that, this is for the other one, and this is for our final person. But once I got about 60, 70 pages through, it really sunk in. It really sunk in for me. So if it's something you can do, I would try. And my most recent 5-star read is Sunrise on the Reaping, and then also the other 4 Hunger Games books are all 5 stars. It's brilliant. It's amazing. Suzanne Collins is a master, and I cannot wait to just see the movie. I want to discuss it with people. My sister is currently reading Sunrise on the Reaping right now, so I can't wait to talk to her about it. We talk about books with each other, if you can tell. But the world of the Hunger Games, Panem, this is, again, prequels are really hard to do because a lot of stuff can seem like fan service or seem like you're just making shit up, but it's not. Everything that happens in this book fits and it makes sense. And her being able to say history does not repeat itself, but it does echo, is another fascinating aspect to this world that she has built. It's phenomenal. All right, that's it for this video. I got all my 5-star books here. Again, thank you so much for watching. You can give me a comment if you read any of these books, subscribe if you feel like it. And you can check me out on my TikTok as well, where I post more frequently. Thank you.